Matt O'Neill. Tell us about this inspiration you had to teach a virtual webinar and advertise it everywhere, not only to your database, but also on the radio to help sellers understand all of their options as a lead generation tool. Tell us about the origin of that idea, and let's walk through the whole process of
Yeah.
how you pulled it off and what you did.
Yeah. I was eating lunch at Matt Wagner's event, and Janice Santori sat next to me and said, "You need to work with Frank at Vyral Marketing." And she said, "We're doing these buyer and seller workshops, and they're awesome." And I'm like, "All right, tell me more." So she told me about how she did it, and then we copied her. So Joy Daniels and Janice really had innovated this, and we got on a call and just heard about what they were doing. They were changing their radio ads. So Matt Wagner runs all of our radio here in Charleston from Radio and Television Experts. And Frank, you helped us write some ads. The 5 mistakes you definitely need to avoid when selling your home,
Mhm.
uh, and that was compelling. So we changed the header of our website to say register for our free home seller workshop. And
Yeah, so
then
you changed the entire top of your website because currently
yeah,
you're
we're
running
back
the
to guaranteed offer
you're
now.
on the guaranteed offer now. Let me show that to the audience really quick here. So here
Yeah,
is the
we
current
put a
header.
we put a banner up that said register for the virtual home seller workshop in place of this. And they would click it and it went to your form, Frank, for them to register.
Got it.
So
Let's
Matt changed our radio ads, and the radio ads said free home seller workshop for a month. And we emailed with Vyral. So we emailed out and said, "Hey, register for this event." And right now we could just use home sellers. So it ended up being a success.
let
And
me
if I
see if
could
I
add,
can pull up the. Go ahead.
if I don't mind adding to that, I've said this from the stage, and if you've heard it, I feel like every rate client should be using Viral to basically help be consistent with the messaging that we're using on radio to blast their database with what we're saying on radio, because the compound effect of that, when you hear it on radio, you see it on social media, then it comes in your inbox. It's like that extra layer of and it doesn't. How much does it cost to email your database?
Not much.
I mean, and it all works together. So when you're getting hit each time, and the other cool thing about email, what can you do? Maybe I'm not selling my home. What if my sister is? Click forward. Hey, sis, check this out. Right? Or if I got a friend at the office that's thinking of doing this, very easy to forward the info to them. So it's just it was a smart use of making everything work together. And I'm all for it.
Totally agree. I just forwarded Frank an email last night that was in reply to yesterday's viral email. And the guy said, "Hey, I want to buy a home in this community. Do you serve that community?" And of course, our ISAs called him right away and set an appointment. So that was a lead that we had generated that then went into our viral database, was seeing all of the seller workshops, not unsubscribing from us, even though he's a buyer, not a seller. And then we sent out another email yesterday about a pumpkin patch that we're doing this week. And from that email, he said, "I want to buy a home."
Nice. This is an example of the email that would go out to get people to your workshop. Charleston Home Selling Workshop invite. I'd like to invite you to a free seller workshop that's coming up soon. Masthead with your graphic. That's really all you need to know. Headline, subheadline, call to action, linking right to the form, right? And then here's some of the body copy of.
I got another one to share as far as another idea that you could use along with this. And this actually, it was funny. I was just talking to John Carbuti the other day, another friend of yours, Frank, who actually does
Yeah,
use Viral
yeah.
to support
One of
his
my
radio.
original customers that paid my mortgage when I started.
That's cool.
Literally, I took his
um,
money and I gave it to the mortgage company.
so he said he was at a barber shoot last month and was talking with Jeff Matea. And Jeff said he did this one simple thing that got his new agent 5 lists, and that John said he recycled the idea and got 5 listing calls and 2 listings for his agent. Was they just sent a piece of mail, and you could do this for email too. Just sent that person a mail and said, hey, I've got a buyer for your home. Are you interested? Call me.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's kind of the premise of the guaranteed offer that Matt's running on the top of his website.
Yeah, just saying, hey, I've got a buyer for your house. You want to talk to him? Like
Mhm.
simple. And it got results. It just
Yeah.
little things like that that add to what you're doing that can make the phone ring.
So you had how many people after hitting your database with some messages, updating Facebook, the big thing, running your radio ads? I don't know anyone that's run radio ads for a seller workshop. That's pretty cool, Matt. And it's always been notoriously hard to get registrations for seller workshops. So before you share how many people registered, how many people have you had registered to your buyer workshops? Those are easier.
Yeah, we had 60 registered to the buyer workshop that we just did.
Got it. So you had 60
And,
the buyer workshop.
and we had 22 sellers registered for the seller workshop.
That's great. So those are 22 kind of middle of the funnel
Okay.
seller leads.
Here's the reality. I can't buy 22 seller leads in 30 days anyway. There's no other way to do it. So I could buy what's your home worth leads, people looking for their home value. I can't manufacture 22 seller leads of people saying, yeah, I'm interested in learning how to sell my home any other way. So it was a huge success for us. And we've set listing appointments and signed listings from it. It just happened last week.
How often do you think you're going to do these? A seller workshop?
Yeah,
Twice a year, 4 times a year?
we're thinking we're gonna alternate every quarter, buyer seller. So 2 seller workshops a year, 2 buyer workshops a year.
Great. And this was all online
Zoom.
on
All,
Zoom.
all that matters is that they
Register.
They don't have to
Yeah.
show up. They don't have to, because as soon as they register, they're in our database. We know their phone number and everything about them, and then we just call them because they registered. So we were calling them before the workshop, like telling them, how to get on, and having a high touch before, then high touch during. We had an agent assigned to each person. So on the workshop, they were messaging the people that we had assigned to them, asking them what questions they had, and then we of course followed up after to set appointments.
Let's talk about the radio ad a bit from the copy that you used. I think it was something like this. And was this the morning talent reading it, or was this you reading it? So you had the talent read it. So it was a live read from the morning talent.
Mm-hmm.
Something like, are you thinking of selling your home? A lot of homeowners are worried about the market. Interest rates are up X%. Home sales are down X%. Should you sell now or wait? Or maybe you want to sell, but you can't find anywhere to move. Right? It's kind of, that was the big pain point. And you're not alone in those questions. So there's the lead. Then it goes into Matt O'Neill with Matt O'Neill Real Estate right here in Charleston is teaching a live virtual home selling workshop to answer all your home selling questions. It's free and entirely online. Just go to MattO'NeillRealEstate.com. Matt will share the top 5 mistakes to avoid and answer all your questions so you make a smart, profitable move. Go to MattO'NeillRealEstate.com to get a free ticket to his workshop today. I got mine, and I'll be there with you. That's MattO'NeillRealEstate.com to get your free seller workshop ticket today.
Man, what an ad!
Is that the gist of the ad?
Oh, that was awesome.
Yep.
Matt, what did you think of that?
It's spot on, and it hits it head on.
I got my ticket at the end because it's the morning radio host.
I got my ticket.
And I think that's a missing element that oftentimes people forget about is just for that talent saying, hey, I'm going to be there, or the day after I was there and it was great. That sets it up not just for that one, but it sets up for the future one. I remember we were having this conversation, I think, with Janice about that a couple of years ago, and I said, why don't you invite RJ? It's like, I never thought of that. Like, yeah. So he talked about it before and then after, and then that sets that because many times with these, you're not just talking to the person that can come that day, right? Because I think what people forget often about radio and just marketing is you're really targeting that 99% that don't need you right now, but will in 30, 60, 90, or even a year from now, 2 years from now.
Yeah, the seller workshop are really good middle of the funnel.
Yeah. So you're not only getting the immediate, but you're also planting seeds for the next one. Why do you think at the end of every Shark Tank, what do? coming up next time on Shark Tank, they're previewing the next show because they want to build excitement for the next one. That's just smart play. So,
Matt, give us
Yeah,
a.
go ahead.
Well, I want to get a break. The audience would definitely want to know, like, how did you structure the webinar? Like, what did you say? The major chapters or sections that you can answer. Make your comment first, but I want to definitely answer the question. What did you say on this 1 hour webinar?
Yeah, yeah, it was pretty simple. I had two of my top agents, two of my best listing agents, Katie and Missy, and our marketing team like took some graphs. So they provided us first. What we did is we said, hey, here's who we are. Here's who you're talking to. Here's Missy. Here's Katie. This is Matt. I introduced them, and then we had 10 questions that sellers are thinking right now.
Great.
It was already in your radio ad. Hey, where would I? So, a lot of our clients are asking, where would I move if I sell? What are interest rates going to do to home prices? Is now even a good time to sell? Where's this market headed? So we just came up with 10 questions that we're hearing right now, 10 objections on the phone. And we said, we're going to address all these questions. And then we said, let's start with what's going on with the market. So then we had graphs from Altos Research that showed home prices going up and coming down, that showed days on market going down and coming up. And I let the agents just describe those graphs. And then we started to talk about, well, it looks like prices are going to continue down. And I talked about Fed saying that he's committed to a painful correction.
Nice.
Anyway,
That's what he said.
And
he
said,
admires Paul Volcker's 18% interest rates.
Oh my God, man. Anyway,
could you imagine? That's a whole other discussion.
I said, so I said, the best time to sell obviously was 3 months ago, and the second best time to sell is today. If you're planning to sell anytime in the next 2 years, based on the way that these graphs look and the projection of where we think the prices are going to correct back to, you're going to cash out if you cash out today. And if you're looking to do that, let's talk about how you're going to get the most money when you sell. And then we went into listing presentation. So I had my stager on the call. I had my photographer on the call. They talked about staging and photography. We talked about where we market, how much we spend, all the things that we typically do in a listing presentation. And then we opened it up for questions. And I had my team ready to fire off the same 10 questions we started the meeting with. And then that got other questions to get fired off. And we started to answer all those questions.
Those will make good viral videos for you, cutting up those 10 questions to send out like excerpts. Let me give you guys an example registration page. So here's the Syracuse home selling workshop. It could just be Charleston. And learn what's happening in Charleston real estate with key mistakes to avoid so you sell your home for more money. And generally, what time did you hold your workshop at and what day, Matt?
We did 6 p.m. Wednesday.
Okay. So it's in the evening during a weekday. So are you thinking about possibly selling your home soon? Yep. See the Federal Reserve rising interest rates. Come to this official 100% educational workshop. Chip was going to bring on a political guest, which is kind of nice, talk about rising interest rates. And here's all the things you could cover in your workshop. So here's if you want to know what to talk about, here's a whole bunch of good ideas that people want to know. And then you could talk about how maybe you might give them a free market value opinion and throw in some testimonials. But this is kind of a good, outline of how I'd put the registration page for the workshop. So people registered on your website. They obviously went to your website, email, and everything drove there. They registered. You got 22 opt-ins. Did you then just invite them to like a regular old Google meeting on a Google meeting request, or did you do the whole Zoom webinar option?
We did
Zoom meeting?
Mm-hmm.
Just a regular meeting.
Just a Zoom meeting. That was it. Yeah.
Any
just
calls or prep to get them there?
Yeah,
what happened between the lead came in and the actual event?
Yeah, we assigned agents to everyone who registered. And the agents were calling beforehand to get them to show up. We had 18 of them on the call.
That's great. That's a good turnout rate.
Well, we worked hard at it. We worked hard to get them to show.
Good. You assigned each seller lead to an agent. They followed up and hustled them to show up. And then that was the person they worked with after the webinar.
Yeah, I mean, and they were excited. And we said, hey, if we give you a couple of these guys, you got to work super hard to get them to show.
Matt, how exciting is this that maybe you can do this from like around the country and around the world, generating seller leads to workshops and handing them off to your agents this way?
I think it's sweet, man. We didn't have to get pizza or beer or like be here at the. I was at my house.
You did it in
Yeah.
your shorts, didn't you?
Yeah, I had put on a jacket, but yeah, no, I was in my pajama pants.
Well, hey, just thanks for sharing this. The seller workshop thing has been around in the space, but I don't know anyone that put it on the homepage of their website on the top, and then wrote the checks to put radio behind it. That's cool, man.
We're running radio to guaranteed offer, billboard to guaranteed offer, and we'll get like 2 of those a week, so 8 a month. So in the 30 days we did seller workshop, we did 3 times as many sellers reaching out to us is what is typical. So it was nice to throw that curveball in the marketing, and now we're back. We're back at getting a couple guaranteed offers every week, and that's successful for us too.
Cool. Anything else? Any other questions you want to ask Matt Wagner?
No, I think you hit on the results. I mean, it's a great compliment, and you can't do these every month because it does start to get predictable.
Maybe as far as 2 to 4 a year, somewhere in there.
Yeah, if you space it out quarterly, you build anticipation. But yeah, I think kudos for you for listening. As you know, you've heard me say a lot, Matt, the 2 words that'll change your life: humble implementation. Being humble enough to say, I could do this, and then implement. You implement it, and you sought out ones that do the same. So kudos for you for doing that.
I just partner with really smart people like you guys. So that's really my key is who's the smartest and the best, and then how can I work with them?
Thanks, man.
Well,
I appreciate the time, Matt.
Yeah, appreciate you guys.
Awesome.